In this tutorial, we're going to use Adobe Illustrator CC 2020 to manipulate some pre-made vector logos. For this one, you're going to need a number of different assets that are available over on Canvas. You're going to see you have one that's called typography logos, 30 line art logos, a few different fonts, some elements, and some other items. So you're going to want to go ahead and unzip all of those. Let's go ahead and start with opening up that 9 typography logos. I'm going to do a file and open with, and go ahead and open those with Illustrator, or just go into Illustrator and open it. Now you're going to see we've got quite a few problems here with fonts. So one is that we need to activate a font, one is that we need to install one. So let's go ahead and say yes to activate. You do need to be online in order to have that work, and it might take a few minutes. Then some of the others we do have available in your folder, so we're going to go ahead and take care of that as well. So it's going to pop up over here. It's probably going to give us something for fonts. And then we're going to go ahead. It's going to say, what do you want to download? And we're going to say, okay, you got to be signed in for this to work. So it might make you sign in. So we want Beavis New. So let's go ahead and do Beavis New Pro. And I'm going to go ahead and activate the entire family, or you can just go ahead and do the one. So I'm just going to do activate fonts. And I'm going to do Pro. So it's activating those fonts right now. So the other thing it said was that we have a problem with Nevis bold. So it said we can substitute it. Instead of substituting it, let's go ahead and go back into that folder that we have, and you'll see that you've got one that has the bold in it. So let's go ahead and double click it. When you double click on a Mac, I think it automatically installs. On a PC, it's going to give you this option. You need to go ahead and push install. If you have a whole bunch of fonts, you can drag them into your fonts folder on your system, or you can do them one at a time. Let's go ahead and do Wisdom Script as well and install that one. And I already have it installed, so we're going to do it one more time. I'm going to go ahead and close that and take that over to my other, and now I've got all my fonts are happy and ready to go. So I'm going to go ahead and say close. So when I'm look at this, I see that I'm in picas, which I don't necessarily, or pixels. I don't want that. I'm going to right click on my ruler and switch it over to inches. If you're not seeing your ruler, go ahead and look in your properties file, and you should have a thing right here that says rulers and grids that allows you to turn your rulers on and off. So having those rulers on can save you a little bit of headache. And we're going to go ahead and select one of these items that we want to go ahead and manipulate. So I'm going to go ahead and play with this photography company. So if I click on these with my selection tool, I'm going to zoom in, Control Plus, you'll see you're going to get a group of, or nope, these aren't grouped. You're going to get some different items, which are all called paths. I'm going to take that selection tool and draw a box around everything that I want to play with. So I'm going to go ahead and play with this one. Let's do an edit and copy. Let's do File, New, and let's go ahead and just do letters, fine, and create, and edit and paste. Now because this is a vector, we can actually go ahead and scale this without having any problem. So I'm going to go ahead and have you make it nice and big. So if I hold Shift and drag, it's going to go ahead and grab me the whole thing at once. And it's okay that I went off the paper. Let's go ahead and come down here to Object and Artboards and fit artwork to bounds. And we are happy as a clam right now. So let's do a file, save as. And let's do first initial, last name, underscore logo practice. And I'll put it in my logo folder. And save. Oh, and say yes. So we're going to go ahead and have a few items here. So if I click on here, I can now see, depending on what I'm clicking on, I'm going to get different elements that I can go ahead and manipulate. So instead of photography, I can change the words out. Maybe I want to make it communication or digital media. And maybe I want to put university. Maybe not all caps. And I don't necessarily like this image, so what if I want to use a different path? I can go ahead, oh, undo, I have it still on my type tool. I'm going to go ahead and go into my folder again, and I'm going to grab that one called Elements. And within Elements, I see I've got quite a few other types of images that I can put in instead. So maybe instead I want to put in, oh, I don't know. I'm going to go ahead and do the, let's do the mustache. So I'm going to grab my selection tool and grab the mustache, grab it around, do a Control C to copy or edit copy. Go over here to my practice and click in and do a Control V to paste. Now it's black on black right now, which I don't necessarily want, so I'm going to change that fill. Maybe I'm going to change it to white, maybe I'm going to change it to another color. That's over in your properties panel, and I'm going to go ahead and scale that a little bit. And maybe I want to make this kind of a digital media with a mustache. That's kind of big and obnoxious. Undo. Let's do shift as we do it. And bring it in, and you'll see you automatically get these guides. They're going to give you an idea of where your intersections are. So now I have my kind of funky digital media behind my mustache. And you can see how easy it is just to create that logo without having to do a whole lot of steps. So maybe you want to change the font here. Maybe you don't like white. You can go ahead and change that fill with another color over here. You can change the color of the box. So you do have quite a few different options just starting with something that's pre-made. So let's go ahead and take a look at one more thing. Let's go ahead and do a file and new. And let's do create. And let's go ahead and open up some of our other options. So let's go ahead and do a file open. And let's go ahead and grab, I'm going to do it from here, those 30 line art logos. Double click and see what's in there. And I'm going to go ahead and say yes. So it's got a bunch of kind of swirls and swooshy things. So let's do file and open. Let's see what our other one looks like. You can also see what these things look like in Bridge, which can make life a little bit easier. And let's go ahead and look at this second one. Oh, wrong one. You'll notice in Canvas, I have given you a whole, or in the drive, I've given you a whole bunch of extra documents to make it a little bit easier for you to find and play with the different types of pieces depending on what you're looking for. Alright, so this one is going to come through and has a lot of fonts missing. So I would want to go through and I need to either find those fonts online or I'd need to change them out for something else. So let's go ahead and say close. So I've got quite a few different chicken ones here. So it's up to you. You can easily grab another one and use that. So just by taking those pieces, I'm going to grab, these are all grouped together. So I'm going to go ahead and say ungroup. So that way I can grab just one. So maybe I want to grab this swirly one right here. I'm going to do copy. And let's go ahead over to our practice one. And let's go ahead and do a paste. And maybe I want to add this little element around my cute little mustache thing. Hold shift and drag out. I'm obviously making just the goofiest logo right now, but that's okay. Just trying to show you how to play with some of those items. So then see, if you don't hold shift, you're going to end up with something really wonky. So I'm going to hold shift and drag. Slide it over a little bit. Okay. Oh, undo. I grabbed both at once. So I just want to grab that path. And it's really just a matter of learning how to play with it. And maybe I want to go ahead and turn that into a blue as well. So we're going to make that stroke. Because it's a line, it just has a stroke, not a fill. And make that blue. And I don't love the way it looks on top, so I'm going to do a right click and arrange and send backward. So it should go behind. It's not going behind. Send to back. There we go. So now it's just peeking out from behind there. I'm going to make it a little bit bigger so you can see a little bit more. Alright. Cancel. And I'm going to do my object, fit artboards to windows. Our artboard to bounds. I'm going to try and I'm going to turn it just a little bit. So I'm going to go outside here. Turn it just a little bit. So you see by how easy it is just to take some pre-made elements to create something that can be your very own. So when you're designing logos, things you have to think about are how is this going to look if it was a favorite icon or if it was a billboard. You know, how could you use this to your advantage? I think I've squished it somewhere along the way. It's not really lining up quite right. So I could go back and fix it. For now, I'm going to do that object, fit artboard to bounds. Alright, so before I turn it in, I want to go ahead and make sure that I get a copy that is a ping, which is going to retain its transparent background. So I'm going to do first let's package it. So it's going to grab up everything we have in there. So file package. It's going to say it has to be saved, and that's fine. And we're going to make sure that we put it in the right folder. So I'm going to go ahead and put it in my tutorials folder. I have it for Adobe Illustrator. I have logos. I'm going to go ahead and stick it in there. And instead of logo practice, instead of folder, I'm going to do PKG. And I'm going to say package. I'm going to say I'm not going to steal the font. We can look at the package, what we have so far. So it's got the fonts, it's got my logo in here. We're going to do one more thing before we decide to zip it. So we want to go ahead and file and export. And we want to export as. And we want to do it as a PNG file so it retains that transparent background. And we're going to go here into my practice package file and save it in there. And high quality is good. Say OK. So now when I go ahead and look in that folder, I can now see that I've got my PNG, my Illustrator, and my fonts that make up that element. So now I would go back and do my package. Let's go back one more. I'm going to go here to my package folder. I'm going to do right click, send to compress folder, and that is going to be the one that I'm going to submit. So it's very easy to take those different elements. So you need to take and create one second one for this assignment, and then you can turn both of those packaged files in. And that's how you can manipulate some logos in Adobe Illustrator.